All right, guys, this is a response to one of my clients, Chuck, and he has a dog named Jupiter, which is a pit bull, and his brother, Baxter, which is a pit bull terrier. Chuck sent me a message today, and to summarize it, basically what had happened was he was walking Jupiter, which is a pit bull, down the street. It's about 6:15 in the morning, really still dark out here, and a neighbor went to open up the door, throw out her trash, about 30 feet from the street, from the sidewalk, and then lo and behold, two of her dogs come blowing out the door, circling both Chuck and Jupiter. Jupiter ended up latching onto one of the dogs, and Chuck ended up basically pulling Jupiter off by holding the collar up and asphyxiating her enough to where she had to grasp to breathe, and that released the dog. The dog ran off, and then he got Jupiter out of there. Chuck was just wondering, is there any other things that you can do to prevent this in the future? Now, Chuck, in your neighborhood, or if you're in a neighborhood where you got a lot of loose dogs or some really shaky fences, I always recommend going out prepared, man. So one of those things is going to be this tool right here, which is the backup collar. It's that training collar that I added on. It's called the dominant dog collar, a slip collar. They call it a choke chain, but it's a rope, but it acts as the same. Is when applied properly, you pull enough pressure, you're going to cut off the airway to that dog, at least for the quick second, until you can get the dog to release the other dog, and then you can get the heck out of there. A couple other things that I can recommend is bear spray. That is an alternative. That will also stop a dog. Of course, you're going to spray your dog as well in that instance if they've already locked up. But if you've got the threat coming towards you, that's one way. Also, Chuck, we can talk about advocating for the dog. So what I'll do is I'll get Suka off this. Come on, Suka. Come. So I'm going to take Suka, and what I mean by that is as the pressure's coming this way, you take the dog, if you're walking her on walking Jupiter on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, you just take a step forward, slip the lead behind you, get a better grip on it because you know the pressure or the threat's coming, and then you advocate on behalf of the dog. And how you do that is you either use your bear spray or a boat horn. Boat horn is going to stop a dog in his tracks. At 6:15 in the morning may not make a lot of neighbors happy. However, the neighbor who made the mistake is the one that should ultimately be held accountable for that problem. But nevertheless, those are some tools. Now, another thing you can do is you can go walk down the street with a stick or a walking stick, and as you start seeing the threat come, and if they're off-leash threats, then you make a big deal about it. You back off, back, get. You want to advocate on behalf of your dog. You want to make your presence larger than you're a pretty tall guy, so that shouldn't be that hard for you. I'm pretty sure you could do that, and you're probably doing the best job you can. You're only asking for tips, and that's all I can provide in the Monday morning quarterback session here. I wasn't there, so I don't know, but get yourself a walking stick, or just a large stick of some sort. Start waving it in front of the dog to just give them a little bit of pause before they attack. But those dogs' intent were to come after both you and Jupiter. Jupiter did what she instinctually would do, which was, in my case, in my opinion, the best thing you could do. What you did by ending up basically pulling her up by the prong collar while she was still lashed onto that dog, and then you basically choked her off. And that's where this tool, the slip collar, comes in handy, man. So make sure that you're always going out with this on her. The slip collar, training collar, dominant dog collar, it's called a bunch of things, choke chain, but this is the backup collar behind the prong collar. And so if the dog is going to attack somebody and that prong collar breaks it to safety, but also in the case that you were in where there's already a fight and you're just trying to get your dog off and get Jupiter to a safe place, you pulled up, you basically forced her to release that other dog. That dog got scared enough and ran back into the house. So I'm sorry that you had to deal with that incident, but it's just an unfortunate thing. It happens. We live in a city where not everybody's is a responsible pet owner all the time, or mistakes are made. So advocate for your dog. Get some bear spray or a boat horn. And they got boat horns that are smaller. You can get a little walking pouch, put it in your pocket or something like that. advocate for your dog. Make sure you got the proper tools like the dominant dog collar, and continue to use the prong collar. You know, keep your eyes and ears open. Don't listen to music or listen to audiobooks or anything while you're walking. You want to be cognizant and aware of the environment around you. But all of this just equals up to advocating on behalf of the dog. So I hope that helps, Chuck. I'm sorry you had that experience, but if you have any questions or any further questions, comments, anything like that, just give me a holler or message me, and we'll see what we can do for you, okay? Say hi to the family for me, and